circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, Dude here. Coming again, an iteration of Dude After Dark. And I might grab a couple more bites because I got my, dinner. I also do have, the latest iteration of Pepsi throwback old stuff. And now they're calling it, Soda Shop. But you notice how big the script is when they say made with real sugar? I guess they really, really want to make sure that it doesn't contain that hated, nasty, nasty. How would I say this correctly, sound guy? High fructose corn syrup. Appropriate, very appropriate. I will give you that. That one was that one was correct. Okay, you could definitely say it's definitely. Really? A ding for making puke noises. Okay, whatever. So let's scrolly. I have got a fatter than fatter than the pantsuit worn by her Thioness Hillary Clinton. Let's just say we have scads of noteworthy news stories that are very, very interesting. And slowly scrolling, get to the beginning of the game and all the rest of that fun stuff like that there. Okay, so let's see. Scrolly. Scroll. Okay. Obviously, if you guys know the history on it, you've seen it on my Facebook page. If you've seen the way things work in the realm of all things, internally motivated, shall we say, it is a leap year. And the last time it was a leap year was when they went carving into my chest and proceeded to rip out, a good section of from like crotch to about just below knee section of, internal thigh vein and place that into, plumbing, pull out the pectoral arteries and use those for other patchworks. Because I had what was known in the business as a angiocath, and that's literally where they, you can barely see it now. It's actually not a very big scar, but it's there. Okay, it's there. It's a little lumpy, bumpy guy. I already got it. But anyway, what they do is they basically make a small incision and they put in what's referred to in the business as a catheter or a trocar, and it's actually a piece of plastic that they then stick into your artery. Then they take the artery and they use it as the plumbing device, which to feed in a little catheter, basically a long ass tube, run it in, run. Of course, looking at you on a see-through device, obviously a fluoroscope or an X-ray or something along those lines. And what they're doing is they're tracking to see the passage of where this thing goes. Then when they get to a certain area that they think might be blocked, they then squirt in a reactive dye that the X-ray can then show as either having a flow or everything just kind of goes and stops plain as day because there's blockages. Well, got done with the procedure and I looked at Mrs. Dude and I was like, so how was it? It really wasn't that bad for me. It really, really was not a bad procedure. In fact, most of the time, I think they were loading me up with Happy Juice from the other IV they were running. And I was fine. I mean, it was just like, okay, this is no big deal. I'm just basically in doubt. And the whole time I'm like looking at the doctor doing the procedure. It literally is like this, what almost looks like a piece of poster board, and they wrap with saran wrap. So I guess if, there was a squirt, he didn't catch it like directly in his face. So anyway, basically, I'm basically watching this guy. He's like running, playing melancholy baby, running, running in and out the catheter to basically direct the flow into different areas of, venous areas, arterial areas, and obviously stuff heading into and out of my still beating heart. And then showing all the dead ends, which then said, yeah, dude, you are jacked up enough. We got to go in there. We got to fix some plumbing because I had numerous blockages. Like I said, Mrs. Dude, she was just like, oh, yeah, you're jacked. that was pretty much her statement. It's like, yeah, you're not going to walk this one off, dude. You got to get wrenched on. So anyway, rolling into the situation they're in, Went to see the cardiologist, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll see you Tuesday." I'm like, "Okay, okay, repeat visit, or whatever it was." And he's like, "No, it's going to be like open heart." It's like, "Oh, okay. I know what's entailed in this. I'm a student of medicine. I know literally, how the procedure goes. I know literally what's involved with it, and I know actually all the nuts and bolts to it, everything they need to do to, perform a hacky openectomy and then do what they need to do to access your heart." Sound guy, sound guy, sound guy, sound guy. Okay, it's not like doing construction. They're opening you up and working on all the. I can say it. Okay, they're working on all the venous, arterial, and heart muscle areas that need to have fuel. And essentially, what it is just a couple different forms of higher proteins and fats and stuff, and that's the cholesterol. That's literally what your heart is eating. So that's what your heart needs to function. And literally, of all the metabolized stuff that goes in your body, obviously, obviously, big brain, a lot of blood flow. That's why you have such amazing blood flow to your head and your face and everything. 25%, literally 25% of pretty much everything you eat goes straight to your brain to feed that. A good chunk of that then goes, of course, to your cardiovascular because it's working pretty hard, man. It takes a lot of work, and literally to pump blood through your body, a blood cell cruises your entire blood supply in like 6 to 8 minutes, and it's like not a little bit of like travel here. I mean, you're talking like a couple, tens of thousands of miles of plumbing for all intents and purposes. So it's really working. It's working. And obviously, it's an efficient device. Basically, pumps all the blood it needs to do, and it's a very well engineered device. Well, if you're not feeding it well, it kind of doesn't do so good. Now, I truly did luck out, and I'm obviously probably rehashing. If you guys have heard this before, I'm just rehashing what I told you before. I do actually have a tiny dead spot in the lower chambers of my heart. Basically, what it is anytime you have a heart attack is essentially your blood. It's not getting to parts of your heart. Your heart is now starving for fuel. It's starving for oxygen. It's a real short trip. Obviously, heart's basically, cocked off slightly left and, just off to the right of your chest, cocked off to the left. And obviously, your lungs take up the other space inside your chest cavity. So, obviously, all those things are now real close in proportion to one another. But to feed your heart, it might take a while for the oxygen and the fuel and all the rest of that stuff to get to it. And dude is ain't eating KFC anytime soon. I don't eat a KFC anyway. That stuff's nasty. I'd rather have Popeyes. And I don't eat it all the time. So anyway, the basically nuances on that one, for heart, literally it's lack of oxygen, lack of food, and essentially your heart is starving to death. Or in a heart attack, literally everything in that portion of your heart is now shut down, and the heart muscle is starving, dying, going to pot, and it's dead. So when somebody's had a heart attack, they literally have dead heart muscle. But because the heart is such an efficient little engine, it can function on 65 or 55 or 45% of its stuff still kind of left. Obviously, you're going to have diminished function. But for me, it was such a minuscule amount. They're like, yeah, we're not even worried about it. So they're like, did you even feel this? And I'm like, okay, look, I'm a student of medicine. I do know what a heart attack and all the symptoms and everything's supposed to feel like. No, didn't feel it. They're like, all right, well, you got very, very lucky. You deduct the major things, which is usually the situation they're in. Is I literally had a quadruple bypass. So literally 4 direct go arounds for things that are completely blocked off and everything that is completely jacked up. Sound guy, they had to go in and fix stuff. Okay, you're really pushing it this time, okay? It's not like I was going to crash and burn. And I wasn't going wrong majorly. Sound guy. No, I know it. I know this is falling on deaf ears, all right? So I know the way he thinks and where he's going to come up to stuff and what he's going to do because, well, we're looking and talking about things that are potentially critical. Stop. Sound guy. No. Okay, so they did a quadruple bypass. They moved everything around that they needed to do to get blood supply back to the areas that need to eat. And truly, the crazy thing is, I actually was pretty much working and doing stuff up to like a day or two before surgery. I was still doing stuff daily basis. I wasn't like really slacking off so much. And yeah, I wasn't feeling 100%. Yeah, obviously, I was feeling worse and worse. But it was a gradual decline. And I'm sure the doctors were pretty much freaked out. Like I was still that active up to that point. And they're like, dude, you should have cracked off a couple heart attacks by now, and you should have been way worse shape, and you should have just sound guy. That's not the way a heart attack works. Okay, so anyway, no, it's not done. Patriot Fever, appreciate you coming on by. I forgot to get into that, but thanks everybody else that's here. No, it was not like that at all. So essentially, it just needed to get done, or
fatality.
Sound guy, really. Anyway, so it wasn't that bad, but yeah, it really needed to get fixed because essentially there was
hello darkness, my old friend.
Okay, I wasn't really that bad off, sound guy, all right? No, I was not that bad off, all right? So stop. So anyway, essentially went into surgery and okay, it was not that kind of never mind. Anyway, so basically they did the job. 4 years later, I now get to celebrate it every I get to celebrate my surgery every 4 years because it occurred on a leap year. Easy to remember, but I only get to do the anniversary once every 4 years. Why? Because we don't have a 365-day year. We have a 365 and 5 hours and 39 minutes, I think, is the actual time. But it's close enough that we can say, oh yeah, it's 24 hours additional. We just get squishy about the last bit. Excuse me a sec. Anyway, it's like Patriot Favor in the room is saying, I'm not eating the KFC anytime soon. Well, yes, I have modified my eating habits to some degree, but I take that is literally my pill container of nothing but supplements. I take let's see, besides a multivitamin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like 10 or 11 supplements on top of my daily meds, which includes, the lightest form of anticoagulant you possibly could take, which is basically just a low dose aspirin. So I'm in the scale of things, my medicine regimen is actually really, really low. I mean, essentially I take a fairly low dose statin. I take it twice a day of a beta blocker, which regulates my heart rate and obviously adjusts my blood pressure. And I take a vasodilator, which is also something that modifies my blood pressure. So in terms of the scheme of things, that's really low rung stuff. For most people have been, within the realm of having their chest cracked and all the rest of that stuff done to them. I'm doing spiffy compared to some people. I mean, some of those guys, they need to go back and they need to get pacers put in, the pacemakers, because obviously they have all kinds of arrhythmias and whatnot. And, I do actually have some slight arrhythmias, but they're really not concerned about it. It's not like, oh, dude, yeah, you're skipping beats all over the place. Your heart is racing or it's flooring out. Usually they say my resting rate is too low. So in the scheme of things, I'll take too slow versus too fast any day of the week. Now getting into the news, let me scrolling. Obviously, you've heard about the turtle. Yeah, the turtle. So Mitch McConnell, Mitch McConnell, you. Yeah, I really want to call him something else, but it could be said that really he's just
You dick!
yeah. So anyway, as Mitch
Dick!
Mitch Dick. Okay. As Mitch Dick has stated, he's not going to be stepping down as the head honcho in the Senate. Now, the thing about it is he hasn't said whether or not he's giving up his senatorial seat. He simply said he's stepping down as the Senate GOP leader. Well, considering the fact that they don't have a majority in the House, he's really not really that much of a force to reckon with. Angry Farmer, appreciate you coming up by tonight, dude. But yes, Turkey Neck Mitch. Euphemistically, I've heard him referred to by, El Rushbo as the turtle. And it kind of fits because every time you hear him talk, he seems to have a cadence, which is kind of like this. And in the Senate today, we have made motions. It's literally like, would somebody please give this man a cup of coffee? Please, please jack him up with something because dude is going so slow that everybody's falling asleep. Wow. Oh man. Speaking of people who might be dealing with issues that we don't really have made public, well, how else can we say it but say it is, well, how else can we say it but say it for what it is? But we need to talk about Joe Kaka. Okay. So anyway, Joe Kaka. Sound guy. Sound guy, stop. Okay, and that's really cute to throw it in there like that, but at that point in time, no, it's not really appropriate because we're talking about Joe Kaka, okay? Joe Kaka. Right, Mr. Right, Joe. Thank you. Anyway, so Joe Kaka. What are you even doing, dude? Okay, anyway, so Joe Kaka had made himself an unexpected trip to Walter Reed Hospital. This coming in from Truth Press. So they said they went to him for his quote unquote annual physical, even though there was no such appointment that had been made publicly announced in advance. Multiple outlets reported on Wednesday, talking about last Wednesday. So two unnamed sources described as quote unquote familiar with the plans, but who were not advised to speak with the publicly, told the New York Times that a visit in President's schedule, even though it had not been announced. Folks, there's no other way to say it but what to say it. It sounds and smells to me like pure and simple. Oh, you screaming bull meow. Total and complete. Absolute. Total, complete, and absolute. Just. Okay. Anyway, so we're talking about complete and total.
But I pooped from there.
But I pooped from there. Bull meow. Okay. And anyway, sound guy, stop. Quote, I'm going to Walter Reed to get my physical, Biden yelled at reporters as he crossed the White House lawn to board Marine One, the helicopter that would take him to Walter Reed. Okay, folks, I don't know if you know anything about the logistics therein between the White House and Walter Reed, which is in Bethesda. Okay, now, literally, if you go to Washington, D.C., 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is 16th Street. Literally, north-south, 16th Street. Now, to go to Bethesda, you go bing, 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 bing. 2 streets over, 18th Street. Next street over is Connecticut. couple streets over from that, like you're getting into Georgetown, you're going to Wisconsin, but literally the streets kind of meander a little bit, then meet back up. And, of course, getting out of Washington, D.C., if you look at D.C., D.C. is basically like it's literally half of a diamond. And then, of course, the western edge is cut and chomped and chewed up, and you're like crazy by the Potomac. Obviously, Maryland side crossing over to Virginia side. Okay, that's how it works. Oh, let me go correct here so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So basically, D.C. side, which is the Maryland side, going to the Virginia side, which is southwest of that. Now, to go from the White House, which is pretty much about the center of Washington, D.C., and you're going to go north to Walter Reed, it's literally get in the helicopter and waka, 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 waka. Not even, but hardly a 5, maybe a 10-minute flight. And the only reason they're doing that is obviously because that way you don't have a whole presidential motorcade. And let me tell you what, I got stuck in a presidential motorcade once. Exactly once. I was driving on the backside of the White House going from east to west on Independence Street, which is literally the southbound road right behind the White House. So I'm trucking along, making good speed. All of a sudden, some uniformed Secret Service guys are like, hold up, stopped everybody. And I was like, leaning out the window going, dude, come on, one more car. And he's like, nope, because I knew it was coming next. Then I proceeded to sit there for about the next 25 minutes as 40 cars came out the back of that place and went on to their destination. Now, the thing about it is if you guys know anything about a presidential motorcade, it's not just one motorcade. It's 3 motorcades. They have 3 duplicate Suburbans that they potentially could put the president in. And they all go in different routes. And they don't publicize which routes they're taking. All you know is 3 of those motorcades are going in disparate directions. And the final destination will be known only but to some people. Now, the kicker is obviously when they're doing that, they are, why is this making all kinds of crazy stuff in the room? I'm seeing all kinds of emojis floating around in the chat room. Anyway, so literally the president could be in any one of those 3 vehicles, but that motorcade is basically it'd be a phalanx or a column. It'd be a phalanx or a column of very similar vehicles, literally like 1 or 2 Suburbans. Then there's like a tactical Suburban. Then there's you got to know about it, kind of Suburban that's just clustered with antennas. And the purpose of that one is we don't talk about that one in public. You can look that one up for yourselves. Then there's obviously like an ambulance or 2. Then there's a couple more tactical vehicles, and obviously uniformed and ununiformed Secret Service. Then there's like executive protection guys. And there is a whole presidential entourage of like some insane amount of people that then encounter the rest of the public. But I got stuck there waiting for that group of people to just go, okay, we're going to meander outside the White House and go in our various ways. And you're stuck. So I took that route numerous times. After that one, I never, ever took that street again because I did not want to get screwed and waiting for the president and all his entourage to make their meandering all through Washington, D.C. Patriot Fever is saying, which president was that? That would be William Jefferson Clinton. Yes. Yeah, that was during Clinton's reign. Look the years up on that one. I was operating around in D.C. I believe I was still living in College Park at that point. Or was I living in Adelphi still? I know I was living in PG County, but I forget which actual address it was. Anyway, so that's the long and the short on that one. No, that was College Park. The long and the short on that one is essentially I was dealing with this stupidity, in personal protection servicing therein and stuck. But yeah, the idea of flying from the White House to, that hospital is like, it's like, please do that every time, please. Because the impact on the public is going to be exactly minimal, except for you hearing the waka, 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 waka as, the Sikorsky goes up and goes, and takes off. I would hope that they do that more often. Please don't drive the surface streets. Please. I don't know if you guys heard about this one at truthpress.com. I'm going to make this real short. But supposedly, Pope Francis is taken to the hospital after canceling multiple events in recent days. All I got to say on that one, Commie Pope ain't looking too good. This one's going to be very, very interesting. This one, of course, being firearms related. And, of course, near and dear to my heart. So essentially, there's now a case that's pending in front of the Supreme Court to say, did the ATF have it within their purview and within their jurisdiction to then modify existing laws? And the Supreme Court oral argument will be the NCLA case against the ATF's unlawful bump stock law. Coming in from Amaland.com. I'm going to make this fairly short. So the U.S. Supreme Court will have it on, supposedly it happened on February 28. Oral arguments begin at 10 a.m. The NCLA asked the U.S. Supreme Court to determine whether the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives unilateral bump stock ban conflicts with the federal statute defining as quote-unquote machine guns. ATF's regulatory ban, which the U.S. Court of Appeals, the Fifth Circuit shot down last year, reversed the agency's own long-standing recognition that bump stock-equipped firearms are not illegal machine guns. So they issued the rule in 2018 defining semi-auto firearms with bump stocks as machine guns, which federal law prohibits. Now, here's the messed up thing, and it's really kind of blanking sucks. This is the one piece of gun legislation that Trump signed off on. But, big stinking nasty Hillary Clinton-sized but. Potentially what Trump did was he forced the BATF to then go to court and defend their actions doing something unlawful where they overstepped their authority, making legal precedent, making law, and changing rules that they're supposed to enforce without making legal precedent or rules or laws, because that is the purview of Congress. That is not the purview of any agency to then make up rules in their bureaucracy going, oh yeah, we're above the law. You can't tell us not to do this stuff. We're good to go. You can't make us not do these things. So I can see it on both sides. One, I'm kind of chap that, Trump said, I'm going to sign off on this one. But, big Hillary, stinky, nasty, disgusting style, but it is one of those things where potentially he was playing three-dimensional chess and they thought he was playing checkers because he forced a federal agency to then have to go to court and defend their actions, being shown as a bureaucracy, doing something outside their purview, their charter, and their defined method of operations. That might actually be way smarter than half for something that the BATF does do and thinks that they're immune to being called upon. So I can kind of see it both ways, although it does really chap my ass. Patriot Fever, no problem, dude. Come on by. Martina Sasquatch. Well, you can always watch it in review, brother. It will be posted up live as soon as I'm done doing this, so you can watch it in review. You've missed like the first 24, 25 minutes, but pretty much it's just me talking about heart stuff and some topicality. Okay, so no, you can catch up on that one. Obviously, I think somebody else did some note. You can crib off your neighbor. Okay, look on their desk and crib off their notes. Okay, there you go. But thank you for coming on by anyway, Martina Sasquatch. Scrolly. I find this one to be completely a gaslighting news story from the Russians. Supposedly, and I'm not going to get into this in any huge, great depth, but you guys can look this up for your own. Coming in from truthpress.com, there was an assassination attempt on Tucker Carlson, which was thwarted in Moscow, Russia claims. Man, to me, that just, it sounds like Russian gaslighting to a level, depth, and breadth like you don't want to know. Whoa, we fixed problem. We stopped guy from doing bad thing. Sound guy. No, it's gaslighting. 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 Anyway, so we're talking about this assassination attempt by some guy in Russia. Sound guy. Sound guy. Gas. I guess I really should just count my my blessings where they are, that he's not doing anything else like something crazy, like really talking about gaslighting. Sound guy. Gaslighting, like putting out a false statement, then trying to justify it by some means of internal falderall that only Russia can do, like Russia does. Okay, I don't know where you're going with the horn sounds, but I'm going to move out from there. Okay, stop. Um, I don't know anybody right now that's standing out to me as more of a political vanguard, and I do use that word with like great respect because I was literally one of four in Baltimore City, one of four libertarians. We were a small but scrappy group, mind you. But anyway, in Maryland, there's only primary votes. You can only vote as Democrat or Republican. Anybody else, Libertarian, Green, any of these other smaller factions have zero voice in the primary vote. Independents, they're yeah, get it for what it's worth. They're just they're screwed. Anyway, so Mrs. Dude became an independent. I became a Democrat when I moved, into the county area. So I would at least have a vote therein on the primary. So essentially, what it is in Maryland, you only have those two. You can only be one or the other, and Republicans really don't get much justification in this state whatsoever. I think it's like pretty much a 2-to-1 advantage on Democrats to Republicans in the state of Maryland. That's just how it is. But anyway, getting out of that stuff. So in Argentina, Milei bans the government. This is from Breitbart.com using woke, quote unquote, inclusive language. Thor's hammer. Dude, you rock so freaking hard. So Argentina announced on Tuesday that President Javier Milei ordered a ban on all leftist inclusive language across all public administration offices and documents. So the administration made that announcement on Tuesday at presidential spokesman Manuel Adorni's press conference. Adorni added everything related to gender-based perspective will also be banned throughout the national public administration. Quote, they're going to initiate proceedings to ban inclusive language and everything related to gender-based perspective throughout the National Public Administration. Of course, you know all the details. You're not going to be able to use the letter E, the symbol and the letter X to avoid the unnecessary use of feminine in all documents in public administration. Now, the thing about it is, and this guy really nails this part most expressly perfectly, Argentina's official language is Spanish. It's a Romance language that's gendered by nature. Well, nouns, pronouns, articles, adjectives, and even objects have defined masculine or feminine gender. Masculine words tend to end in O, while feminine words tend to end in A. Leftist movements have attempted to replace the O with inclusive replacements such as E or X, instead of saying Latin or Latinx, instead of Latino or Latina, which renders the language incoherent. Now, I can tell you for a fact, sometimes it's really funny because in Spanish, it's like the translation between English and Spanish sometimes can be a little squishy because, it's just like, you can say, hey, bring that to me. And they're going, oh, who are you talking about? And they say, literally, who are you talking about? But if you say, bring him to me, they'll say, oh, you mean the so-and-so? Yes, I need him. That's literally, you got to give stuff personification. Towns are defined in the masculine. Barcelona, not Barcelona, Barcelona. And of course, if you go into Spain, it'd be Barcelona. You have to lisp Barcelona. So they literally give like towns masculine things. There's most things to do with like structure and stuff. They're given the masculine. Things to do with the way things feel, they're given the feminine. So that's literally how Spanish works. It's, literally the Romance language adds those things into it to say, hey, this is how we're interpreting this. You got to get this part. So when they start trying to do this inclusive thing, it blows the whole thing out of the water because it physically just doesn't work. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but supposedly there's now another story about Joe Kaka, and I'm calling bull S again. This one, of course, being very, very interesting. I'm going to simply say it is complete and total. Absolutely just. So they're saying that Joe Kaka, as Breitbart again, has neuropathy in his feet, which stiffened his gait. Well, I'm going to call in that because the fact he cannot speak coherently, loses his spatial awareness, and then falls all over the place is not neuropathy. Neuropathy is a generic term for unresolved or undiagnosed nerve pain. That's all neuropathy means. Neuro meaning nerve, pathy meaning pain. Neuropathy. It is nerve pain. I tend to posit the notion that his gait is stiff because they got him wearing braces, so he's not falling even more. And of that news story, it is, yes, sir, stinking nasty, huge piles. There's a news story going out, and there's a black guy, and I forget if it's a blog or if he's a news geek or some such, but the guy's named Stephen A. Smith. And on the Stephen A. Smith show, he's calling out that Joe Kaka had a dinner with a black family, and they were eating, and I cannot do this justice, but he was having a dinner with a black family, and he was eating fried chicken. Man, if you don't get like the bad trope on that one and the racial, don't make this a public thing. Well, anyway, so he's got this dinner with the black family, and he's eating chicken with them, and he goes, well, I got a hamburger. So he's not even eating chicken with the family. He's eating a hamburger with the family who's eating chicken. Excuse me 1 second here. But anyway, the optics, I mean, just the sheer optics on it just play horribly. I mean, all somebody has to, the guy even says this in the news story. He's like, this is going to be something the Republicans jump all over. This is going to look horrible for the Democrats. Why are the Democrats doing something this stupid? Why didn't somebody say, hey, Joe, why are you doing this? And he's trying to be charitable, but he's like, look, I got to call it where I got to call it, man. He happens to be a black guy. And he's like, I got to call it where I got to call it. And this looks horrible in the racial tropes, dude. Didn't somebody like drag you aside and say, don't do this? Well, apparently not, because I'm sure next thing would have been like, oh gee, well let's have this, fried chicken dinner with watermelon, and we'll crack open a 40 of malt liquor and really get it all in there, so everybody can be offended. But man, the optics on this thing were just so terribly horrendous. And the thing about it is I tend to think it's kind of really this high arrogance that the Democrat Party really has with African Americans. And I'm using their language there, so I'm being polite. I usually just say blacks, but with African Americans, usually what they say is, oh yeah, well, you guys aren't smart enough, so we have to take it down a few notches. We have to switch over to, kind of trying to sound about as black as possible whenever they do public speaking, which is just offensive. If you're going to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. Don't basically then go, oh, okay, well, I have to ascribe myself to sound similarly to you, so I'm not offensive, and so I take it down a few notches so you can actually decode what I'm saying. Ugh. Beyond unbelievably publicly revolting, I say. And that's not even a case of like getting together and having the dinner with the family and all. It's the optics on it, on how they made it so predisposed to say, hey, let's get together, have some fried chicken. Dude, you could have basically taken them anywhere and had something to eat, and it would have played the same. You don't have to do like that whole channeling the black culture, fried chicken. Oh, that's what they should have done. Fried chicken and waffles. Yeah, that would have been on point. Fried chicken and waffles, watermelon on the side, cracking 40s. Oh, on point, man. That would have been it. So unbelievably racially obtuse. And they say that Republicans are the racists. It's the rich white Republicans. Yeah. Look at your donor base there, Democrats. Most of you guys actually happen to be the rich white Republicans who look down on everybody else because, oh yeah, they're not all that smart because you're so rich, you're smarter and better than everybody else. I tend to see politicians tend to do that too, no matter what their melanin level is. They get to a certain elevated position and they think that they're even self-elevated higher than that. Yeah. This one I think is absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to get into too terribly deep, but American Journal Daily just had something hilarious. So Fanny's case against Trump. From Fox News, defense attorney Ashley Merchant at one point referenced text messages between her and Bradley in which she asked Bradley if he thought the relationship started with Willis before she hired Wade in 2021. Bradley responded absolutely in the text exchange. When confronted with the record of these texts in court Tuesday, Bradley appeared to mutter, dang, and then said he was speculating in those comments. Dang. Held it. Oh, man, you give me a timeline. Ugh. Yeah, bad stuff. This one I seen it as a desperate measure on Walmart's part to say, please stop using Amazon. Please, please. Oh, pretty please. Yeah, this one I find to be very, very interesting. And I haven't been there and compared before and after enough to really get the gist on it. But this one's coming in from truthpress.com. Walmart supposedly is lowering grocery prices to pre-inflation levels. Now, the thing about it is I find kind of grating is if they can afford to do this during inflation, why did they wait until like after the fact when everybody's gotten so butt slammed financially that you look at the financials right now, there is more people in credit debt living off their credit cards, running that up with the really ridiculous interest rates that it's really not good. People's savings right now are flat. The amount of expenditure that they're doing just to simply just make monthly payments on their things, they're extending themselves using their credit cards way too much. And obviously the most expensive thing they're doing right now is day-to-day expenses, not like going on vacation or buying the newest car or all kinds of, electrical tchotchkes. It's merely the fact that everything costs more, at least 30 or 40% more than previously. But supposedly Walmart's lowering the grocery prices to pre-inflation levels. So, quote, in food, prices are lower than a year ago in places like eggs, apples, and deli snacks, but higher places like asparagus and blackberries, said C. Douglas McMillan, President and Chief Executive Officer on February 20 earnings call. Dry grocery and consumable categories like paper goods and cleaning supplies are up mid-single digits last year, high teens versus 2 years ago. Private brand penetration is up in the countries where we operate, including the United States. Okay, so this is just squishy, executive speak. It costs more, and you guys really haven't jacked the prices up nearly as much as you're hoping to jack them back down. Well, if people are going to do the easy way of looking at it, they're going to go, okay, I got my Prime. That's $1.20 a year. So I can use that as much as I want. And if I also go on Amazon and I go shopping for all my stuff and I'm getting larger quantities and I don't have to go and spend gas money to go and get it, which is, $3.30 to $3.50 to $3.70 a gallon now because it's going up because obviously it costs more to make gas in the summertime. So gas prices are now trending up. Now, I'm not really liking that one because that hits me daily. But gas prices are trending up. So you go, okay, well, I'm spending $120 a year, which is what, 30 cents a day? 30 some odd, 27, 24 cents, whatever it is, 24, 25 cents a day, and 26 cents a day, whatever it is, per day for the Prime versus, $2 or $3 to start the car and drive out the driveway versus like $6 or $7 to go and hit the store and come back. People are just looking at their finances going, okay, if I go to the store and I buy a box that's X size versus like a bigger box that costs a couple bucks more, and I'm not going to need to get it, twice as long, and I don't need to expend the gas to go and get it, people are shopping more on the larger big box operation they're in on Amazon. I mean, case in point, like one of the cereals I like, and yes, it is literally the least manufactured cereal I possibly can ingest. But one of the cereals I like, they have like it's like 36 pounds of this cereal for like $62. Now, granted, 36 pounds of cereal is going to last me a whole hell of a long time. We're talking probably like about a yearly supply at least. But for 60 some odd bucks versus like $5 or $6 for like, what is that? I think I did the math at one point. It literally came out to be I'm way ahead, but the storage it's going to take up is I'm going to have to probably stash it in my basement because it's going to take over. You're talking big honking boxes of cereal, and literally it's just kind of taking over at that point. But you don't need to go to the store every week because it's taking you a lot longer to burn through. I think probably that box might last me like a month and a half at least. And I did the math on it, and it actually is like it comes out pretty close, to me going out and hitting the store. But I'm out anyway. I drive daily because I'm doing my Uber gig. So for me to hit the store on the way in and grab a box of cereal, it's kind of like going on the same trip. So anyway, Walmart's now saying they're making stuff cheaper. Yeah, thanks. Good, great, cool. This one is near and dear to my heart. I'm gonna make it fairly quick. Coming in from MLN.com, other provinces are telling the Breck girl, Trudeau, Justin Trudeau, Ontario is the latest province to tell Justin Trudeau, not feeling it. So Trudeau's ban and buyback gun rights in Canada. Ontario's government is likely issued and the feds a heave-ho notice. Pretty much not doing it. Go away. Not playing your stupid games. Keep that stuff in your own province. So I think it's kind of interesting that even the Canadians are like, you know what? No, we're not playing these stupid little games. You guys can screw off. We're not taking away people's firearms. Coming in on the vehicle side of things, I don't know if many people know about this one or even consider it, but those people that are screaming around their little electric vehicles going, they're so cool, they're so great, this, that, and the other thing, we love them so much, they're not maintenance free. So electric cars require less maintenance than traditional cars. This one coming in howtogeek.com. So basically, routine maintenance on electric vehicles includes maintenance on brake pads, rotors, fluids, tire rotation, cabin air filters. Additionally, battery health and coolant should be monitored to preserve the most essential component of an electric car. Regular software and app updates are also important for optimal performance and features. Yeah, but don't forget, if they really truly don't want to play games with you, they can turn it off remotely. Or like they had in California, where people went out to their cars and they're like, oh, yeah, it's time to recharge. And California was having like the brownouts and blackouts and everything. Bink, this little screen popped up and said, high power use time. Don't charge your vehicle. So, yeah. Martinez Sasquatch, collard greens, pig knuckle, and chitlins are all sidelined, it seems. You must be talking about that dinner with Joe Kaka and the Black family. Yeah, that would have been hilarious. I brought you fried chicken, chitlins, and collard greens. We got some watermelon out back and some 40s. That would have been utterly epic, man. I would have paid to have seen the look on that family's faces. They're going, we don't eat chitlins. Oh, we just assumed. Yeah, you just assumed. So anyway, that's the other thing that they say too is also, EVs really, really burn the snot out of their tires. You're carrying, well, they're heavier. I actually did an article last week where I was talking about like guardrails and whatnot really aren't built to stop an EV flying at it because they're heavy. You're talking like a passenger car that weighs about as much as a small truck. So, the battery packs on those things, obviously, there's a lot of weight, but it's down low. So they're like, oh, they handle great. Yeah, well, you put 1,500 pounds and hang it underneath your average car. Yeah, it's going to have a really low center of gravity. Only problem is you got 1,500 pounds dragging the car down because the car normally weighed 3,300 pounds and you now made it weigh 5,000 pounds. Teslas are not light. Okay, I got a fun homework assignment for you guys sometime. When you're driving around, look over and take a hard look at any Tesla, and it's especially like the 5s or the 3s, any of the sedan guys. You can see those things driving down the road, and they ride like this. They literally, they're bucking because the spring rate has to be such to carry all that extra weight, but try to give it a smooth ride. And I've actually heard people talking about riding in Teslas. Oh yeah, I get motion sickness riding in Teslas. Normally, they don't have that problem, but Teslas literally do this whole bob and weave, sine wave thing as they're going down the road, no matter what the damping is on the shock absorbers or, any of the spring rates for the suspension stuff. It just can't keep up with it. It's moving so much weight that it literally is trying to give it a smooth ride at the same time it's trying to deal with all the additional mass. But drive down the road sometime and look at a Tesla as it's driving beside you. It literally is like porpoising along. They really do ride like crap. I don't care what anybody says. They really do ride like crap. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not. This one is like, what am I really like. It's kind of one of those almost wants, but not quite wants. It's in the same league as like a Ruger Mini 14 ranch rifle. I would love to have one of those in my armory. I just can't justify it, mostly because I've already got enough stuff. Okay, it's not like I really got to worry so much about do I have something that puts out enough 5.56 and appropriate numbers? I'm pretty much good. Sound guy. Sound guy. Sound guy. Sound guy. Oh, are you gonna now load it up? Okay, I told you to get rid of that machine gun wave. That thing sucks. Okay, that's not even good. Sound guy. Sound guy. Okay, that last one was not an M16. That was a Mac 10. Okay, Mac 10 is a cyclic rate that is about twice almost of what an M16 is. Okay, we're going backwards and forwards. Anyway, so I really like the idea of the Mini 14. I really, really like the idea of a Mini 14 now that Bill Ruger's like taking a dirt nap. But there's another one out there, and it is the Springfield Hellion, of which it's known as the VHS-2. Why? Because it looks like the military gun like they have in Croatia, because it has the full length barrel, not the little snubbed up 16-inch guy, but the full 20-inch barrel. So it has the grenade launcher on there, and it has the correct, little ribs down the length of the barrel that adjusts, where you send the grenade in terms of distance. Forgotten Weapons has a really good video about it. And the major thing that's really cool about that rifle is if you do have access to it, all you do is pop out the mag well, and you can shoot the correct, and I do mean air quotes, correct Croatian-style magazines, which look a whole hell of a lot like a Steyr AUG magazine. Almost unavailable in this country. The mag wells are really, really unavailable in this country. And they put an adapter well, which allows you to use AR-15/M16/STNAG/Magpul, alloys, any of those guys. Lancers, any of those magazines that are the correct configuration for M16 configuration weapons. But the thing about it is it's a bullpup. And the idea of doing a mag change in my armpit kind of doesn't really enthrall me. I'm too used to basically dropping out the mag, slipping in a new guy, seeing confirmation, mag's locked up. Also, the other thing, too, is, when you get down and you do a prone on that thing, you're like way off the ground because, you have the pistol grip there and you have the magazine ramping you up. And I know everybody's like, well, you're going to have a 40-round magazine. It's so long in the AR-15 family. Yeah, but you can put a 10-rounder in there and you're like on the dirt. But yeah, if I was to get any bullpup, it would be that bullpup. Man, that thing is sweet. It's a very strange looking gun, but it does a lot of really cool stuff and it works nice. And like I said in the Facebook post I made, as much as I admire the IDF, the Tavor just feels not great. It's so butt heavy. It's like picking up a 2x4 with like about a 5-pound weight on the back, and you just go, I guarantee you that's one of the things that's really great about it is the IDF has said it's literally one of those ones you literally can one-hand the thing around a corner, and that's great and all, but if you're a right-hander, you're spitting out the rounds to your right. If you're a left-hander, you got to flip it over, then you're spitting out the rounds to the left, which means if you're now flipping around a quarter, slicing the pie, clearing a room, you're going to be putting out rounds correctly. But if you go the opposite way, you're going to be spitting the rounds back into the ejection port. Not something that's great. That's one thing that the FS2000 really, truly had from FN was it basically just spat the rounds out the front. And then there was another version that Kel-Tec has, and it drops the rounds literally out the back and down out the bottom. So everybody's kind of got their own thing going on and all the rest of the good stuff like that there. I guess it's just, what is your claim to fame? What's your favorite play with? And I don't know. I got an M14, so I have an M14 like old, M1A style guy. So a Mini 14 manual of arms and everything, it's almost exactly the same. The major thing I don't like about those is they are tap and rack magazines. The magazine has to go in, click in and then rock back. So it's like an AK. Obviously, the mag release is you push the little doohickey on the back, magazine unlocks, drop, put a new magazine. I'm a little kind of lazy in that regard. AR-15 configuration weapons, basically hit the mag release, mag drops out, slap another mag in, bolt releases right there. It's programmed in. I've been playing with the things for too many years now. I do like the technology involved. I'm not really ready to jump on that one just yet. Scroll. I don't know if you've heard about this one. This one's another quickie. Truthpress.com. New CNN CEO may axe Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, and Jake Tapper. So shilling lies and fake news will render your company ignored. So say bye-bye to these lying butt munches. Also, they cost a lot. I mean, it's like Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, and Jake Tapper. All of these guys all together are probably like $50 million a year. That is an insane amount of money. Jumping over here to Nikki Haley. I guess people don't trust you when you do stuff like this. You broke your word to do something. So, coming to AmericanJournalDaily.com, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley suggested on Sunday she may no longer honor the Republican National Committee pledge that she signed last year to support the eventual GOP presidential nominee because she believes the RNC is becoming too close to former President Donald Trump. Nikki, Booby, darling, if you know anything about, politics, they're going to suck up to the biggest dog in the room, and that's exactly what happened there. Speaking of somebody to pick the wrong group of people, there's a chick got on a train in New York, and she started screaming, "Free Palestine! Free Palestine!" Well, the train was in Brooklyn, and if you guys know anything about the geography of New York City, very, very, very Jewish area that she was traveling in. She started screaming this Free Palestine thing, and the train started singing Am Yisrael Chai, which is essentially the Jewish people live, which is almost like an anthem of Israel at this point. So these guys are singing Am Yisrael Chai, and this chick was losing her mind because she had like 20 people all singing it way louder than she could, and she was like scanning her phone around like a gobsmacked jock, like, the Jews, the Jews. Yeah, you picked the wrong people, lady. They weren't playing. Scroll. Okay, obviously you guys heard about Facebook crashing and burning. So it crashed for an hour and people lost their hit. Oh, man. I don't know if this is a real post or if it's a meme, but on X, Elon Musk is noted as stating, if you're reading this post, it's because our servers are working. Oh, man, I got to tell you what. Mark Zuckerberg's butthole is probably clenched tight enough to contain a fart for a change. Oh, man. I'm going to claim, how do I say this without saying this? I got this one, sound guy. I got this one. Michelle Obama is claiming, well, I'm claiming that. She says she will not be running for president in 2024. The only thing I have to say to even find some abject fallacy to that thing is I claim, the idea of a Democrat black president and an incumbent vice president who also happens to be of color is just too tempting for these lackluster dog pukes to resist. So Big Mike might be coming in and trying to make it work. Have you guys heard about this one or not? But supposedly Google, Alphabet, call it what you will, is literally one of the absolute worst places to work right now. So right now, coming on Breitbart.com, culture of fear. Google insiders share stories of woke DEI insanity ruining the company. So Google, once a titan of innovation, now faces an existential crisis as a result of misguided policies, or priorities, lack of leadership, and a pervasive culture of fear driven by DEI-obsessed HR department, according to insider accounts. Pirate Wire's editor-in-chief, Mike Solana, reports that the recent failures of Google highly anticipated Gemini AI project has shed light on the company's deeper systemic issues. Solana's interviews with concerned employees from various teams, including management, engineering, sales, and marketing, have revealed a troubling portrait of a company in disarray. Yeah, it's because they're trying to become so woke that they can't even make it work. Martina Sasquatch, as the French say, le big oof. Martina Sasquatch, oh, you're talking about the Hellion. Yeah, dude. You can use it left-handed. That's one of the kind of really cool parts about it. So Breitbart News has reported extensively on the leftist blame lot, which has festered within Google for many years, including exclusively reporting on quote-unquote the Google tapes, an all-hands meeting held in the election of Donald Trump that features executives crying and promising to do a better job censoring conservatives in future elections. Okay, right then and there, Congress should have jumped on him with both feet. Jumping over again to the EVs, if you guys heard about this one or not, this one coming in from Breitbart.com, as if we didn't already know this, as if EVs release more toxic emissions or are worse for the environment than gas-powered cars. The study published by the emissions data firm Emission Analytics in 2022 has resurfaced and attracted a slew of attention recently after being cited in a Wall Street Journal op-ed over the weekend. Emission Analytics found in 2022 study that the brakes and tires on electric vehicles release 1,850 times more particle pollution than tailpipes on gas-powered vehicles, which was considered to have an efficient exhaust filter. So essentially what it is, these cars are moving around, they weigh a lot, they're beating their tires up, they're scuffing all kinds of wear onto them. And electric vehicles are on average 30% heavier than gas-powered vehicles, so the brakes and tires on EVs wear out faster. The problem is made worse by the heavy battery in the Tesla EVs, which only gets worse as larger electric trucks are introduced into the market. In one example, the tire wear emission in electric vehicles found to be 400 times worse than a gas-powered car, Emission Analytics revealed. California leaders, however, meanwhile, are in assumption electric vehicles and gas-powered vehicles have the same amount of tire wear, Wall Street Journal noted. So that's it in a nutshell. They just beat the crap out of their own tires. And they do other stuff too, obviously, because there's kids in the Congo digging out the lithium. I mean, the leaching places. It's really bad stuff, man. Scroll. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but Doritos has a slight problem with the transgenders now. Oh, yeah. They had one on staff, and it caused such mayhem for them, they fired her. Him. Them. How would you say this? Trans person. How would you say the trans person? Would it be a
SYZPDQOU812?
He dropped him in the water first. Thanks, sound guy. Anyway.
Whoa, commentary. Yeah.
No, this is not woke commentary, okay? We're talking about the
SYZPDQOU812.
You've got mail.
Okay, yes, it would be You've Got Mail, because we're talking about a transgender guy who was just fired by Doritos. Oh, man. So coming in from Newsmax.com, Doritos has fired transgender activist Samantha Hudson, who appeared in one of her promo videos amid an uproar over Hudson's old sexualized tweets about children. Ugh. During Hudson's brief stint as Doritos brand ambassador, the trans activist appeared in a 50-second video called Crunch Talks, which has since been deleted from the Chips brand Instagram account. On Tuesday, Rolling Stone said it would no longer work with Hudson after learning of the previous inappropriate post. Okay, I got something to pause it and make known to you guys. I literally, hang on a second, I need a sip on this one. I literally get a background check every so often from Uber. And they sent me an email. We're doing a background check on you, this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. Background check has been completed. Background check, this, that, and the other thing. Cleared. Now, if Uber is willing to off-put the funds to make sure I'm still a good egg, why can't Fritos, Dorito, whatever the corporation parent name is, why can't they do a background check on this guy and not go, you know what? DEI. Yes. We got this person. We have this person to now speak about our stuff. Yeah. Do you think they could have spent 5 seconds to do a background check and go, yeah, they have some really sketch tweets in the past. We might want to really think this one. No, they put him on front and center and said, this is the dude. And I'm going to keep saying that. This is the dude. Yeah, this is him. Yeah, that's what we want. We want a dude who thinks he's not a dude to act like something that's not a dude. Because that's DEI and that's woke, dude. Yeah. So anyway, they basically, put their nuts in the fire, got in a little bit of problem there, and yeah. So who is this guy in reality? Well, the name is not really Samantha Hudson. The name is actually Ivan Galanzes Renato in Spain. Is a vowed anti-capitalist and a Marxist who called for abolition and to destroy and annihilate the traditional monogamous nuclear family. So as a teenager, he tweeted about wanting to do, quote, thuggish things to a 12-year-old girl and, quote, screaming that I'm a nymphomaniac in front of a super beautiful 8-year-old girl, the Mail reported, then dresses like a chick. In 2015, Hudson tweeted, I want to do thuggish things to get into a 12-year-old girl's expletive. Sound guy, what do you think he was talking about getting into? Would you think maybe it was a little bit of talking about her? Yeah. Okay. Let me just do this one. You got the sound effect up now, right? Right. Okay. Yeah. I want to do, quote, thuggish. In 2015, Hudson tweeted, quote, I want to do thuggish things to get into 12-year-old girls, end quote. Quote, I hate women who are victims of sexual assault and go to self-help centers to overcome their trauma. Annoying SLUTSs. End quote, Hudson wrote in another post. So he's really just a oh yeah, he's one of those really bad dudes. Okay. And it could be said that Doritos really screwed the pooch on this one by picking up a bit of yeah, that one to play with. Scroll, truthpress.com. Another one about Fani Willis. She's looking not great right now and for further Trump games. So there's a new witness that comes forward and is ready to offer testimony that will sink Fani. And I'm not going to call her Fani. It will sink Fani Willis. This one is kind of really disgusting. I'm going to probably make this a last one. I got a couple more that's pretty good. Let me jump over this one real fast. Let's see. Scrolly. American Journal Daily. So minutes after the SCOTUS rule for Trump, a furious Democrat makes one desperate move. PatriotJournal.com. From the Daily Wire, in the wake of Monday's unanimous Supreme Court ruling, Representative Jamie Raskin, the piece of monkey puke from my state, Democrat Maryland, promised to, quote, revive legislation, end quote, that would prevent anyone guilty of participating in a quote unquote insurrection from running for president. Quote, I'm working with a number of my colleagues, including Debbie Blabbermouth Schlotz and Eric Fartwell, to revive legislation. We set up the process which will determine that someone can be committed to insurrection is disqualified from Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Okay, you can try that. You can try that, and you can keep trying it. Only problem is, not one single person on January 6th has been charged with insurrection and found guilty. Nobody has been charged with that. And the other thing, too, is also this is a 120, 140-year-old law they're trying to revive right now in complete and total desperation because the Supreme Court just told you ain't going to happen. Piss off. Scrolly. This one cracks me up more than you can ever know. AOC freaked out, caught on a live camera because a liberal mob freaked her out. And what did they do? Well, they basically acted like those people that she supposedly supported in the past. From Post-Millennial, group of anti-Israeli activists chased Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat New York, and her fiance Riley Roberts out of a movie theater in Brooklyn on Monday, demanding that the progressive congresswoman call the Jewish states war against Hamas terrorists in Gaza, quote unquote, a genocide. They can be heard saying to Ocasio-Cortez, quote, you refuse to call it a genocide, end quote. The congressman told the protesters, quote, I need you to understand that this is not okay. The activist then replied, quote, it's not okay. There's a genocide happening. You're not actively against it. So they showed her being chased in the movie theater with the left winger in the mask, and then she flips out on him. Oh, man. So basically, she's now reaping the whirlwind that she previously helped wind up. Oh, AOC, you have no clue what you've just done to yourself. Her Highness Hillary Rotten Crotch Clinton. This coming in from Fox News. So Hillary Rotten Crotch Clinton, quote, says people need to, quote unquote, accept the reality that President Biden is old. Quote, somebody the other day said to me, well, you know, Joe Biden's old. I said to him, you know what? Joe Biden is old. Let's go ahead and accept the reality. Joe Biden is old. So we have a contest between one candidate who's old, who's done an effective job, doesn't threaten our democracy. Then we have another candidate who is old, barely makes sense when he talks, is dangerous and threatens our democracy, Clinton said. But she was rejected out of hand because people think she's unworthy of a higher office. I'm going to close out with this one. This squishy pile of rhino puke needs to be sent packing. Reason being, something near and dear to my heart. This asshole could not sign a done deal document right in front of him for a pro-gun law in Maryland. He couldn't sign it into being. Now, here's the other thing that really truly is demonstratively, emblematic about what this guy is. He has a high propensity of very good numbers with Democrats because he is basically squishy. He doesn't stand up for anything. He just does the middle of the road stuff. He did absolutely nothing in terms of, governor, in terms of fixing the state that really was like stand out. Like, I'm really for one side or the other. He is squishy. Signed everything, put the first state further into debt, didn't do anything positive for the state except for suck up to everybody who basically was like, yeah, can we do this, please? Sure. Spend money. So, former Governor Larry Hogan, I got a supreme statement for you right here, buddy. I got an itch I want you to look at right here. F Chuck you pile of monkey puke. I will make sure I never vote for you to be in office anywhere in these United States, and I hope you lose. You do not need to be a state senator for the United States, in Maryland ever. You suck. Anyway, on that one, I've run through all the various things and appreciate your kind attention. You guys got many other things, stupid guys hung out with me. Good stuff like that there. Oh, music. Hey, that's nice. All right, so you get a gold star for attendance. You guys got many other things to do on Tuesdays. You guys hung out with me. I appreciate your kind attentions. You guys hung out with me. So I'm going to break up with this one. I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Of course, a review and good stuff like that there. You'll see all the good stuff happening in the chat room. Truly appreciate the kind attention. Catch you guys next week. Have a good one. I will see you then. Catch you guys later. Eat good, keep tendering as always. You know you love it. Good stuff like that. See you guys.